Hey there, welcome back to Sync, the weekly news show where we provide a TLDR, no BS recap of what's been going on in the gaming industry for July 16th through the 23rd. My name's Andy, and let's get episode 35 underway. Bungie delays Destiny Beyond Light expansion. Bungie announced this week that the upcoming Beyond Light expansion, previously set for mid-September, has been delayed to November 10th due to trouble with coordinating the team during the pandemic. This delay will also lengthen the current Season of Arrivals, to the launch date of Beyond Light, delaying the removal of Titan, Mercury, Io, Mars, and the Leviathan. While these destinations might return in the future, Bungie has stated that the reason for this change is to bring the scope and size of Destiny under control for future updates by utilizing the new Destiny content vault, something that Call of Duty could take a lesson from. We will have more details about the content leaving Destiny in an upcoming video. Deathloop developers discuss upcoming title. The studio behind Dishonored and Prey have been quietly working in the background on their next title, Deathloop, and some of the developers took time this week to sit down with IGN to share some exciting information about the upcoming title. For instance, the time loop that has coded the game might sound like it would make this FPS a roguelike, but the team says without spoilers that it becomes quite apparent why this isn't true very early into the game. They also spoke on the visual design, quote, "We call it the Saul boss vibe. He did all the posters for The Shining and Vertigo, and you mix it together and you get something that's really arcane." Deathloop ships later this fall on PC and as a console exclusive for the PS5, and looks just as good as all other Arcane titles. It's definitely one to keep an eye on. Dualsense in-depth preview. As a part of the summer of gaming, Jeff Keighley took to YouTube for the world's first in-depth preview of the upcoming PS5 controller, affectionately called Dualsense. This controller sports a larger style more in line with an Xbox One controller than a DualShock 4, but keeps the button and stick layout of its predecessors. The D-pad is the highlight, as it drew from the PS Vita's design, which is just a true modern-day pinnacle of D-pads. The improved rumble and feedback that drives the Dualsense seems to be Sony's response to Nintendo's HD Rumble feature. The controller is also confirmed to be charged via USB-C and looked very good in the hand. Of course, it's all just one man's opinion, but we can all decide ourselves this fall. PS5 pre-orders will be announced in advance. Sony has put to rest rumors of surprise PS5 pre-orders, which had apparently had people lining up outside of stores in advance. Unbelievable, but in a recent interview, PlayStation marketing head Eric Lempel assured gamers that there will be sufficient advance notice with which to pre-order the console. Of course, there will most likely still be an intense rush for the console, and with the probable supply constraints inflicted by COVID-19, it'll most likely be tough to secure a PS5 for launch. We will keep you posted as information comes in so you can avoid eBay scalpers. Hopefully. Twitch takes action against US Army account. Twitch has taken action against a seemingly fraudulent US Army-backed giveaway through their Twitch account, which enticed viewers with the promise of an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller, a pricey piece of gear. When the link was clicked, however, viewers were taken to an Army recruitment page with no mention of terms of the contest itself at all. A real bait and switch, and Twitch had the Army remove the giveaway link and any and all mention of it. This comes alongside more controversy with the Army's presence on Twitch, specifically a user being banned for mentioning war crimes in chat, so it'll be interesting to see how they go forward with the Army on the platform. Last of Us 2 cements itself as second biggest launch for Sony. NPD has revealed their sales numbers for June 2020, and The Last of Us Part 2 has performed remarkably, becoming the second largest first-month launch of a Sony-published title since Spider-Man. Of note is that Spider-Man had 30 full days to be tracked by NPD due to its release date, whereas Last of Us only had 16 days in the tracking period. Interesting to imagine which would have come out on top if the playing field had been completely level. Congrats to Sony and the teams at Naughty Dog for their accomplishments with the title. Despite all the internet hatred, we feel this success is very well deserved. Metacritic delaying user reviews 36 hours in response to Last of Us 2. While not expressly identifying it as the cause, Metacritic has implemented a new cooldown period of 36 hours post-release of a game where user reviews cannot be left. Of course, many other titles have experienced this problematic review bombing before, but Last of Us 2 is simply the most recent high-profile example, which really got beat down over the issue. Metacritic says it came to this conclusion also with the help of industry experts and data-driven research, also known as common sense, because barely anyone had beaten Last of Us 2 in its first 36 hours, as it is roughly a 15 to 25-hour game, depending on how fast you play through it. Uncharted movie actually seems to start prepping. Tom Holland, Spider-Man himself, took to Instagram to share a picture of a labeled set chair for the Uncharted film, emblazoned with Nate for Nathan Drake. He captioned the picture, "Day 1 #Uncharted," making people think that the film had literally begun shooting, leaving Sony Pictures to downplay the rumor, stating that the crew had begun prepping the sets and shooting is expected to begin soon, but hasn't actually started yet. With all the issues this movie has gone through, multiple directors, writers, and rewrites, we're curious to see what ends up coming out of Sony. Microsoft no longer selling 12-month Xbox Live Gold subscriptions. Microsoft quietly has removed the 12-month Xbox Live Gold subscription plan SKU from the Xbox Store and related storefronts, with no real explanation as to why. But the timing certainly is interesting, as we start approaching the release of the Series X and Game Pass seems to be doing better than ever. Could we see Xbox just roll everything into one service? That's definitely what a lot of reporting and fan speculation has assumed, and we find it believable. Game Pass Ultimate coming with Xbox Live would make a ton of sense, and with that, Microsoft would really be demonstrating that they're willing to cut costs to gain ground in this console war. Fae Tactics, bringing the genre back. If you enjoy turn-based tactical titles like Final Fantasy Tactics, a new title from developer Endless Fluff Games comes Fae Tactics, a new 60-plus hour game focused on all that tactical and mystical goodness fans of the genre have been looking for. The gameplay and visuals look unique enough to differentiate itself in an almost oversaturated pixel gaming market. The combat and leveling systems seem robust enough to provide that right amount of depth. Fae Tactics is available for wishlisting on Humble Bundle and Steam and releases July 31st for the PC only at this time. Ring Fit Adventure and Persona 4 Golden hit top 20 list for June. The June sales numbers are out for the North American video game market, and in no surprise, The Last of Us 2 topped the charts as we said earlier. The more interesting news, however, is Ring Fit Adventure was the 8th most sold game last June, thanks to increased stock and interest in the title with people now being stuck at home, and it jumped up from the 835th position on the chart. Another rising star was Persona 4 Golden. Having been released on PC, it saw a jump to the 16th place from the 615th place, when it was stuck just on the PS Vita. The other usual suspects are on the list, but it's nice to see some variety from time to time. Nintendo Mini Direct. Nintendo held a surprise Mini Direct partner showcase this past Monday, showing off some titles from a few select developers. First off, Cadence of Hyrule is receiving 3-fold DLC packs with about 30 songs apiece to keep the beat flowing and the adventure well equipped. Then, WWE 2K Battlegrounds was shown off with the real-life stars taking control of their cartoon versions and duking it out in the squared circle, and this shows that it was the right path for WWE 2K this year instead of a mainline release. Lastly, Shin Megami Tensei 3 is receiving a remaster in the spring of 2021, and the long-awaited Shin Megami Tensei 5 has been confirmed for a release next year after 4 years in development hell. Shin Megami Tensei is the series that Persona broke off from, so fans of Persona should really look into this series if they're looking for more RPG goodness. Crysis Switch Tech Preview. While fans were initially worried about the Switch port of Crysis not being up to snuff, the team over at Crytek handed off the port to Saber Interactive and delivered a well-polished version for the Nintendo Switch. The remaster was shown off this week in a trailer running at 720p at 30 FPS and looked smooth as butter, with way more clutter and shadows than I'd ever imagined. Though it comes as no surprise, as Saber Interactive was the same team that managed the Witcher 3 port that also impressed fans. Overall, I'm gonna be picking this one up on day one. Surgeon Simulator 2 announced. Developer Bosses Studios has announced their follow-up to the licensed back alley but in an operating room surgery simulator game, Surgeon Simulator 2. The title will include a variety of upgrades from the experience we are already familiar with, including an upgraded and deeper story mode, 4-player co-op, possibly the coolest feature, new surgeries, and a most intriguing creation mode that allows for player-generated content even beyond the operating theater, with the disco and basketball being shown off. Sadly, the game will be an Epic Store exclusive on PC, but it launches on August 27th, and a closed beta will run from the 7th to the 9th for those who have pre-ordered. GameStop requires all US customers to wear a mask starting July 27th. GameStop's corporate overlords have just issued a new edict. Beginning July 27th, all US customers of the video game chain will be required to wear a mask to shop in the store. All customers who have a pre-existing condition or any reason for not wearing a mask have been directed to the online store to complete their transaction. While this measure is appreciated, it seems just so strange, firstly, that the company who tried to declare itself essential is now taking the pandemic so seriously, and secondly, that it's taken multiple months under quarantine to implement this. Seriously, consider not giving these clowns your money anymore. Red Dead Online players protesting content dearth dressed as clowns. Players of Rockstar's Red Dead Online, the multiplayer component to Red Dead Redemption 2, had been protesting nearly a year without a meaningful content update by dressing as clowns and, quote, demonstrating in the game's towns. Players have also dressed as similar circus performers, such as the strongmen or knife throwers. There is no major goal or anything here. They are just disappointed in Rockstar's updating of the game, which in comparison to GTA Online pales completely. Hopefully things turn around, because I would love a reason to dive back into the multiplayer for this title. xCloud launches this fall, will be included with Game Pass Ultimate. Microsoft's new streaming service to compete with Stadia and GeForce Now is set to release this fall. The new service, known as xCloud, has been in the works for a while, including a limited beta for those who had games locally installed on their Xbox to be streamed to their phones. But the rollout in the fall will be the full streaming service taking advantage of Microsoft's cloud hosting platform Azure. While other streaming services have either failed to meet expectations or can't hold a stable library of games, xCloud looks to be an addition to Game Pass Ultimate, which already has an expansive library, and should provide a successful launch. Overwatch Summer of Music. Overwatch is rolling out a few music-themed events this summer, starting with the release of Conductor Sigma, a new legendary skin for one of the group's newest additions. Alongside the Mastro Sigma event currently going on in-game, the team over at Blizzard announced that a full summer of music performances would be coming to Overwatch from several bands all over Europe, the first being Bearwomp, a French beatboxing group that has won several awards throughout the years. The remaining lineup will be released over the next few weeks, and all the details are in the sources below. Alright everyone, that's Sync for July 16th through the 23rd. If you haven't subscribed yet, you know where that button is. Lastly, let us know what games you've been playing in the comments below. Once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time here at Sync.